Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome to episode 2 of Beyond the Lens. In this series, we help you level up your video content or podcasts through tips and tricks, either doing it yourself or using a professional service like ourselves. I'm Andy from Pulsate, and this is
Rob from Pulsate.
Obviously because we're in the same company. So today we've got a great episode ahead. With many things to help you on whether you should be starting your own podcast, and that's whether it's audio or video. But before we dive into it, what have we got on the agenda today, Rob?
Everything. What haven't we done? We've been ram-packed, haven't we?
Yeah, but before we go into what we've been doing, what's here? What does this say?
Oh, that's our
epic competition, you say?
Competition?
Epic competition. You can see we're a bit hyper today. We had some good news just before shooting this podcast. We're going to be filming a panto in December.
Oh, yes.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Love a panto.
But we digress because we have an epic competition for you guys to win, which will be announced on our third podcast, our Christmas podcast. But in order to find out what this competition is, you're going to have to stay tuned. And we're not going to say it's in the middle, at the start, or at the end. So keep listening. You won't want to miss out on this. So, Rob.
Hi there.
First, we're going to go over what we've been doing.
Yeah.
What have we been doing since our last podcast?
So, since the last podcast, we've worked with Alice Fewings from LinkedIn. I did a great little series for her, didn't we?
Set up just like this.
Yeah, just like this. We made use of this little setup we've got. It's a unique setup.
Yeah. So, hi, Alice. We're giving you a shout out on our podcast. You'll recognise this because you filmed in this studio. And with Alice, what we did, we created a series of four videos. 4 videos?
Yeah, 4, I believe, yeah. 4
videos for LinkedIn, specifically for LinkedIn, leveling up your posts on there using video content. So that's one of the things we did. So that was great fun. What else did we do?
Andy Taylor-White.
Andy Taylor-White.
Went to Bournemouth.
Mr. Smooth.
Mr. Smooth, yeah.
Mr. Smooth. We went to Bourne Space in Bournemouth, which is a co-working space.
Brilliant.
And,
brilliant little location out there.
And what sort of work were we doing with Andy Taylor-White? From the Inspiration Bureau.
Pitch to camera.
Rob's memory is brilliant today. Pitch to camera. No, it was video blogs, wasn't it? It's video blogs for LinkedIn, 3 of them. And I must admit, they're quite enjoyable to work on, weren't they?
Oh, they were brilliant.
So, yeah, we worked with Andy Taylor-White, great guy. And
charity-based work.
Charity-based work, inspirational, very inspirational guy. And we also worked with Sally Golden Photography. Now, that was fun.
That was immense, yeah. The old Bond store.
The old Bond store. Shout out to you guys. So Sally has commissioned us to produce an introduction video with some breakout videos from that intro video. And what that means is it is coming out about 4.5 minutes so far, the edit. And instead of Sally hiding behind the camera, taking photos of clients for businesses, headshots.
She's in the spotlight.
She was in the spotlight. Yeah. Which made it interesting because it's extra pressure on ourselves to get it right.
Yeah, because she's an expert herself, so she'll call us out if she doesn't agree with anything. But I think she'll be pleased with the result.
Yeah, so that was extremely good fun because it was many different shots. It's a day in the life of a photography shoot, so which is unusual. It wasn't just simply Sally talking to camera and saying this is what I do. It was actually shooting a client who came in. We told the story from the start to finish. So by the time this podcast goes out, we may well have it live, and we'll be overlaying some graphics and images, and the same with the other clients we've been mentioning on this one. If you're watching the video version, Built by Basil.
Good old Basil.
What are we talking about? Built by Basil.
This guy makes, if you don't know, he makes gear knobs for Porsches. He's based in... Where is he based?
He's based in Sway in New Forest.
Yeah.
He takes old skateboards, chops them up and make gear knobs out of them. And this guy is absolutely fantastic. And again, we're showcasing his video as well. It was very much introducing himself, what he does. And it was, again, a story of start to finish of how you make one of these.
It's a very complex process.
Very.
And it was, as cold as it was shooting there, it was nice to just kind of learn about the process.
the whole process. So our cameras got very dusty, which we didn't expect.
I was the duster man for the day.
You were the duster man. I'm going to overlay a photo of Rob doing this dusting work. So that was great fun. So that was another great thing. Where else? We went down to see Mr. Paul Stevenson
Beautiful sandbanks.
Beautiful sandbanks.
Love
We've
it.
been down there when it's been really hot and very cold. And this was for Ego Stream. Paul runs a very inspirational business along with his wife Lucy. That was great. We regularly film down in.
Yeah. It's a luxury.
It's a luxury.
Go down there.
Hopefully at some point early next year when the weather gets better, we actually do some shots out on the beach as well. So that was great fun.
And the biggest of all.
No, we don't have to talk about that. People don't need to know, Rob.
The big 4-0.
Big 4.0. I turned 40 last week. I had my 40th in lockdown. But it was amazing.
Yeah.
Took some time off. Had Chef Gary.
Good old Chef Gary.
Chef Gary cooked some lovely food and delivered it to us, or we picked it up because obviously we're in lockdown. So I had a lovely gourmet meal.
Went for a lovely walk.
That's what you do when you turn 40. 6.5 miles in New Forest, living the dream. But yeah, it was good. I feel, if you don't know, Rob's only 22, so he makes me feel like a right old fart. So I think we've done on the catch up stuff.
I think so.
So anyway, we're going to get on with the show today, guys. And so, as the title of this podcast suggests, why should you start a business podcast? A good question. So we're going to cover a few points. So why should you start? What type of podcast could you have? How would you go about making a podcast? And then audio, visual, video, audio, whether you film it, whether you just film it. So obviously this is a video podcast as well. And then tech recommendations. But we're going to start off with why.
I think the main point would be exposure. Like, you can get a vast amount of exposure. I think 7.1 million people tune into podcasts weekly.
How did you remember that stat? You couldn't remember how some of the films we did, but you remember 7.1 million.
Yeah. So obviously podcasts are a major thing now. So you can't overlook it. And you've got to take full advantage of it.
So exposure, also expertise. You would start a podcast to show that you are the professional in what you do. I use us as a case in point here. We're putting ourselves front and center by having our own podcast and showing you that we can do what we say we can do.
Yes. Yeah. What else is there? Show your personality.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what I mean. And it's also a quality, you can gain a lot of confidence. I know from my first one, I was a bit jittery at the start, a bit shaky, but this one I feel fresh. I feel like I've gained confidence. So yeah. That's another quality you can get from having your own podcast.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's just podcasts are more, if there's two, if you like, we've got here. You have more of a chat situation, conversation, subject matter. So yeah, it does certainly build your confidence. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
And I don't know about you, but when I do any sort of filming, I feel more confidence and I have to rein it down a bit. What else have we got on our list there?
Attract more clients.
Obviously, attract more clients because you're utilizing another platform. So you're not just relying on obviously business networking or LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You're actually then now exploiting the audio platforms like Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Breaker. The list is endless. Sure.
And it separates you from other businesses. Yeah, because you look unique.
Well, we find strange is there's not many businesses taking this up.
No.
And I think it's purely down to maybe awareness.
Awareness, yeah, very much so. I think if you are on LinkedIn a lot, you'll see that there aren't any video podcasts at all.
No, I've not come across them out of, I think, 800 connections.
So I'd say it's a bit of a niche.
Yeah, it's very much a niche. And what we find with our clients, it's a lot of fun. They really enjoy it. We'll take example one of our clients.
Yeah.
NK Active.
Oh, good old NK. Good old Nick Knight.
Nick Knight. Ta-ra, Nick. Nick, I understand this. On his first podcast at the end, he felt the need to say, ta-ra, which was really funny.
It's his signature.
It's his signature. And on his 5th podcast we filmed this week, and I said, you're going to have that.
Yeah.
That's your signature. So, Rob, maybe you want to explain to our viewers what NK do and why they felt a podcast would be a great idea.
They are, what's it? Pro?
I can't say the word. They're foot people. I'm really sorry, Nick, if you're watching. Podiatry?
I like to say foot experts.
Foot experts. We'll go with that. Foot experts. Everything feet. So to do with injuries, rehabilitation.
But Nick's main premise is just to help people.
To help you. Stop you from getting injury. Give you some advice. His podcast, he has guests on board. Athletes on board who have had injuries, talking about their story from recovery to getting back to full fitness and how they used NK Active to get to that. They talk about footwear.
Oh God, we learned the other day a bit too much about shoes.
Well, I don't think you can learn too much, but it's fascinating when you'll listen to a podcast, somebody who's expert in a niche like Nick and the team.
But you think about it differently.
Yeah,
like I know I do. I was like, wow, because most of the time people's shoes don't actually fit.
No. It's like any subject. When you dive into it, you're like, wow, there's so much to learn. And the funny story behind Nick's podcast is he contacted us and said, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, okay, brilliant, fantastic. Invited us along to NK. And he didn't bother telling his employees, Charlie and Natalie, if you're watching or listening to this, shout out to you, and just put us there and said, oh, by the way, we're filming a podcast. And you should have seen their faces. Natalie was absolutely fine. She's like, yeah, it's fine. Charlie is like, I am not doing this. I am not going on it. But by her own admission, she's absolutely enjoying it.
Yeah, aced it.
Because she's a doctor and she's got really great expertise in what she does. And even, from her point of view, getting on a podcast was daunting.
Oh, yeah, it is. I know my first one, like we kind of had a game plan, but we just went straight into it, and that captured our raw, reactions.
There's nowhere to hide.
There's nowhere to hide, no. I think that's the best way to approach a podcast. Don't ever rehearse it because it'll come across scripted. Yes, that's not what you want. You want it to be organic. So yeah,
have a bit of a plan on it. So we'll move on to the next one. So what type of podcasts could you do? Obviously, this is a type of podcast. We're filming at the same time. There's 2 of us, so you could have
a solo cast if you're brave enough. Because you'll literally be, it's just you and the camera. And if you really have expertise in your field, yeah, I can preach it enough, a solo cast for sure.
And then obviously you can have 2, like us 2. Well, not have us 2 on your podcast, but you can have two people on it, so you create more of a conversation.
Yes, yeah. A duo cast. What's the other one? Groups. No more than 4 people.
So yeah, group podcast, but yeah, definitely no more than 4. And
because you want to hear everyone, when you've got 4 people, you want to hear everyone's little pitch into the discussion. You don't want it to be outweighed. You want everyone to be pitching in. So I think 4 people is the sweet spot, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. The Only Network have their own podcast, and they have 4 people on there.
They've got James, the leader.
James is like the leading it with the questions.
That's it. Yeah.
Because I think it's always important if you've got 4 people, even possibly 2 people like us, or 3 like NK Active. You got to make sure that there's some lead on it, so there's some direction. So the viewers, when they're listening or they're watching, they know who's sort of like who's steering the ship.
Yes,
basically.
Exactly.
And James, being an ex-journalist, is extremely good at it.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Really good. He will laugh at some of the stuff I say because I appear as a co-host on there along with Kelly, his wife, who's obviously owns Only Networking as well. So groups work really well, but you got to sort of make sure that there's structure behind it. You don't just want to be waffling on.
Yeah, no, James is an absolute natural at it.
So you got solo, you got 2 people, you got groups, then you got
interview gas.
Interview. So what do we mean by interview podcasts?
Interview casts. So we'll use an example. Mr. Digital. Ross likes to bring guests, which he likes to interview, who kind of have a speciality in the field he's covering.
Yeah, we're overlay, like we do on the video element on this podcast, we overlay some samples of what we're talking about. Yeah. You can see on Mr. Digital, Ross, that he's very much facing his interviewer, but he's making sure that he's still looking at the camera, engaging with his audience. But he uses the interview technique for podcasts to sort of like explain how some his guests use marketing for his business, and the different types of marketing and things like that. So it's fascinating. His is geared all around interviewing his clients and other people as well.
What's another example? Silent Ego.
Silent Ego again. Paul and Ben. So we've been doing sort of like multi-level on this one, because we've been doing Zoom ones as well.
They have some brilliant guests though, don't they?
That's excellent guests.
My favourite being Titch.
Titch, what's his surname? Cormac.
Titch. God.
How cool is that name?
There is only Plan A.
There's only Plan A.
No Plan B.
No Plan B. So they very much get guests on board. And with Silent Ego's podcast, their whole theme is about transformation from sort of one industry to the other. So, for example, Titch Cormac was in SBS. I hope I've got this right. And then he actually runs a motorbike workshop down in Poole, and he's moved from military to there, and the transferable skills you can have from one part of your life to the other, but it can be done, and whether you've been working in a corporate environment and then you've set up your own business. So I urge you guys to tune into Silent Ego. They got some great guests there. We had a guy from Canada. We had a geolocation specialist, James,
he was great.
On it as well. So we found out all about locations when you set things up, all sorts of more complex stuff. So you learn a lot on those. So those are the type of podcasts you can have. Of course, there's many variations. You can, we've just listed solo, 2 people, groups, interviews. You can have a duo setup like what we've got, very much facing you.
Bounce off each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, your personality comes across on this side of things. Next part is, how would you go about making them? What do you do to make a podcast? Well, there's a very cool way of doing it. We don't personally advise it. What's the first thing?
Just your phone. It can be just that simple, just using your phone. It's not encouraged, but if you're on a budget, just your phone. Believe it or not.
We've all got the ability of doing it. To start your own podcast for free. And obviously, it would just be an audio version, and just use your phone. The quality's not going to be too bad.
No.
On it, so
because its main focus is audio.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you can definitely do it.
Or you could use something like Zoom or other sort of like online video conferencing. Again, they are a great workaround. Audio quality is not brilliant on it because it's all downgraded because it's over the internet. But again, it's not going to stop you.
No.
You don't need specialised kit. You don't need things like what we've got here.
No. So you shouldn't get discouraged when,
Absolutely not.
No, you can, literally just start with nothing. Just use your phone.
Use your laptop. And then you got high-end. Well, I like to think it's high-end. What do you think, Rob?
I like to think so, yeah.
High-end setups like ours, where we're producing... higher quality audio because we've got these mics. We got no echo in this room because we've got curtains up. They're special curtains.
Curtains which you cannot see.
You can't see because they're behind the scenes. We're going off on one now. So and you or the lighting. So you got the high end level. So right at the start, you could just use your phone to. I hope I pressed record on this camera. I did, didn't I?
Oh God, I hope so.
So you can use your phone, use your laptop. You can use online services like Zoom. So there's nothing really stopping you from actually going for it. You just need to, a subject matter. So that come down to whether you're interviewing and things like that. But stop there.
What's that sound?
Are we peaking the audio? No, I think we're fine.
It's all right.
It's competition time. So, woo, buzzer, music, fanfare, whether we bother
Confetti
overlaying.
everywhere.
Confetti. There might be some visual confetti. We'll see. So, competition time. So, we teased at the start that we got an epic competition. And that is to win your very own branded video and audio podcast. What do you get on this, Rob?
Get a one podcast video recording. Not only that, 8 breakout videos for social media. My God, your own branded podcast distributed on Apple, Google, and Shopify.
It's not a Shopify. We've got Shopify down there. It's Spotify. So on all major audio platforms it'll be distributed on. You'll record it here at Pulsate HQ.
In Southampton.
And how much is it worth?
Oh, let me tell you, it's worth over £1,000.
Can you tell we're having a lot of fun with this? So yeah, you can win a podcast with 8 breakout videos, video, audio. It's worth over £1,000.
My God.
And what you got to do to enter, Rob?
Visit www.pulsateuk.com/podcast.
I got it here, just in case you didn't hear him. So we'll say it for the audio. So visit pulsate.uk.com/podcastcomp, because I'm lazy and didn't put competition.
Right here.
There's a link down here on the post up there, wherever it's going to appear. We'll announce the winner on our next podcast in December. The closing date is the 4th of December, and we'll announce the winner on the 18th of December when the next podcast will go out.
What do they need to do though?
What do they need to do? Head to the websites we just mentioned. You simply got to put your name in, your telephone number, your business name, very basic stuff. You don't have to answer any questions. We're not going to be putting on you on a mailing list. We simply just want, it's a bit of Christmas fun, really, to have a chance. But why are we running this competition? I hear you say.
Why are we running? Because why the hell not? We want to give something back, and like, if you're the winner, you may want to continue. You might see the benefit of having your own podcast, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's a good laugh.
It's a good laugh. We just want to give an opportunity out there for somebody to win something like this, have an afternoon out here, and help out, and more than anything, to show how great it is to actually have your own podcast. So. Get entering. The competition's only open for a couple of weeks. We'll be putting out reminders on our social media platforms, so you'll see it here, there, and everywhere. So again, it closes on the 4th of December, and we announce a winner on the 18th.
Make sure to subscribe.
Make sure to subscribe. Then you won't miss out. YouTube, one of the audio platforms, all the audio platforms we mentioned, we'll list them here as well. So good luck, guys.
Good luck.
We're looking forward to announcing the winner next month. So moving on to the rest of our podcast, we're around about 26 minutes in so far. We try and keep it to half an hour, but we're going to go over. So, did you just...
That was a hiccup. Not a burp, just a hiccup.
Right, okay. So moving on, what type of podcast? So obviously, if you're watching this, you realise we put out a video podcast plus an audio podcast. But what are the advantages between having just audio?
There's an argument, isn't there?
There is an argument.
Audio or video.
Or both.
Or both, if you're feeling crazy.
Now, we're biased, and I think there's always an opportunity. If you're going to sit down, put a lot of effort into coming out of a podcast series, be brave enough to do it, why not set up some cameras at the same time? You don't have to have a setup like what we've got where it's directly on you. You can have it in the corner. But what it gives you is another platform. Some more exposure for the video side of things.
You've got to make the use of it, all those social platforms. And you've got 8 breakout videos. And
it's still very new, the sort of video podcast. YouTubers have been doing it for quite a while. They realise there's a missed opportunity here to capitalise on, earning money, because it's got to be over a certain amount of time on YouTube. And obviously podcasts go on for at least 20 minutes, at least. But I get a lot of feedback when we talk about it. It's like, well, surely why would you bother doing video when the majority of people will listen to audio podcasts on their journey to work? But think about it right now. How many people are actually going to work?
Yeah, well, exactly. And also, if you do a mobile podcast, it gives you a chance to show your premises, where you work. You can show that off.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using a service like ourselves, we can come to you. You can come to us.
Yeah.
But if you're quite capable on the tech side, you could set up your iPhone or Android and record it. But there's many advantages. But my point of view is, why not capitalize on it all? But then there is argument. It's like, one day we may just put out audio versions as well. Unlikely, but
that's the thing though with audio. You've got Spotify, iTunes, massive platforms. The audience both those platforms have combined is ridiculous. But at the same time, video, if you've got some really good personalities, make use of it.
Yeah. Especially if it's a lot more visual and you're doing Blue Peter show and tell, something along those lines. But if you lack a bit of confidence and you're not sure, stick to audio to start off with, see how you go, and then level it up with videos later on.
Yeah, well said.
I would say. So we're on to our last subject matter, which is our tech recommendation, service recommendations. So tech.
The list is endless.
The list is endless. Rather than go through a whole list of different tech stuff you can get, we're going to leave some links on this podcast. So what we recommend as
our favourite
as gear, because it ranges from anything from £20 up to £2,000 for a microphone. So we're going to give our best suggestion of what you should use for microphones.
My first suggestion being the one that's in this video, which you can see right now, is the Rode mics.
Yeah, they are exceptional.
Yeah.
But you also then need a Rodecaster, which is £600. So probably not the most budget conscious version.
On the pricey side, that one.
But you can get a mic to plug into your iPhone, a standard microphone, which level up the mic for your audio recording.
Can you use a lavalier?
Yes, you can use a lav mic or shotgun microphone, all that side of things. So the other thing as well, what you want to be aware of when you're recording any sort of audio is to make sure that it's clear. So this is sort of like what we've sort of frowned upon using just like your phone.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like maybe you're on a phone call or something along those lines.
Yeah, it's not ideal. The phone audios have never been that good, really. So if you were to get a microphone, I personally would say the lavalier mic. But
yeah. And then making sure that there's less echo as possible in the room, less distraction and noise around, so that people can really just listen to you and what you're saying. Some of you may be aware that actually to distribute a audio podcast is free. There are paid for services, but it's free.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. To start off with, you've got a phone and you can distribute it for free. You're not taking advantage of it.
You're winning.
You're winning. So we use a distribution service called Anchor. So a single login, and then once we post, they distribute to Apple and Google. And
that's
Spotify.
so brilliant. Aren't they?
It simplifies it.
Full analytics. You can see the views. You see everything you want to.
You can see people who have listened to it, and we
shows the countries.
Shows the country. 25% of us is in America. Thank you, guys. So that was a pleasant surprise. Yeah. But we did have one in Sweden.
Sweden.
Why do we have one in Sweden,
and
Rob?
That was 1%. That being my brother. So if you're watching this, Hamish, hello. How you doing? It's Anchor's brilliant.
Anchor's brilliant because it does show you the data behind it and who your potential audience is. It links to Spotify because it can show age groups, male, female, devices. So you can really start homing in on your audience, where they're listening, and then you can adjust your series or your campaign to that target market if you wanted to. So Anchor, microphones. Try and make sure there's not so much of an echo in the room.
You can use the soundproof curtains.
You can use soundproof curtains. Obviously, we've got pro levels, but it's a great hack for you. You can simply get your towels, hang them over. I know it sounds crazy. Get a load of towels, hang them over clothes rails. If you can get those. IKEA, quite cheap. Put them around you, dampens the sound.
It's cheat code, that.
Especially if you're in a house like Ross has got, who we showed earlier on. He's got concrete floors. There's hardly any soft furnishings, leather seats, concrete table. The sound reflects everywhere.
Yeah.
So try and dampen it down with soft furnishings or something like that.
So this is going to bring us to the conclusion. So Andy, why wouldn't you do a business podcast?
Great question, Rob.
Thank you.
Why would? It's almost like I knew it was coming. So the only reason I could think you wouldn't is if your business is doing really well and you could do without the extra exposure.
Yeah.
B, you don't know who to turn to. You do now, us. C, why wouldn't you? Maybe you lack some confidence. You know, it's just simply something you don't want to do, which is fair enough. There's lots of other platforms out there. But why wouldn't you? Because the exposure level is immense.
Such a good laugh.
For a bit of pre-planning, couple of hours just getting things set up and recording, you got yourself a month's worth of content there.
Yeah.
So I think I answered all those questions.
I think you did. I've been left. I don't know what to say. Contribute to that.
What about great for campaigns?
If you got a campaign that you're rolling out, yeah. But I would say the breakouts being the main thing.
Yeah, I think, you know, if anyone's doing any sort of podcasting, recording it yourself, break out segments from it. Very much like what we do on this podcast and what our clients do. Maximize your
I feel like it's a fundamental, aspect of a podcast. Because you've got endless content.
Endless content.
Yeah.
So, because we've been rabbiting on, I reckon it's 35 minutes now. Yeah. And if you're still listening, reach out. You got a prize. So, what's coming up on the next episode?
Smartphone filming.
And what sort of things will we be telling our listeners and viewers on the next podcast?
All the everything you need to know about smartphone filming. I know you've got a video you released out in the past. We'll probably throw that one up of making use of all the gimmicks and the advantages of smartphone filming. The best of kit to use.
Best kit, microphones, lighting. So we're very much going to sum up how you can level up your filming if you do that yourself.
You do elaborate that on Alice's viewings.
On Alice's videos as well. Working it with LinkedIn. So make sure you subscribe, comment. We want to hear back from you. Make sure you definitely enter that competition. It's getting very American. Enter that competition. Rob, any last final thoughts? That's Jerry Springer. Oh, are you too young for Jerry Springer?
I think so.
Do you know who Jerry Springer is?
No, I don't think I do.
Oh my God.
To make you feel old.
I am definitely 4.0. Final thoughts, Rob.
If you're feeling on the bench about a podcast, don't be. Just take that step forward, and I think you'll be happily surprised with the result if you are the winner. But that's all I have to say. So if you have enjoyed the podcast, leave a comment, maybe a like if you're feeling generous. That's all I have to say.
Your final thoughts? Was that inspirational? I think it was. Thank you so much, guys, for watching or listening today. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, leave your comments. We appreciate your feedback. And just a quick shout out to everybody who watched our first podcast.
Yes,
we had some amazing feedback. You guys are awesome.
Oh, so lovely. Getting the comments.
Massive shout out to you, Rob.
Yeah, they're boosting my confidence. Just reading all the lovely comments. It goes a long way. I really appreciate the comments. Yeah.
So take care, guys. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.